The Royal Rumble is still almost 2 months away, but superstars have already begun declaring their intention to enter and win the annual contest. Tonight's Raw featured the Usos, putting the undisputed tag team championships on the line against Matt Riddle and Elias. We also saw JBL host a high-stakes poker tournament alongside his new protege, Baron Corbin. Let's look at what happened during tonight's show, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phenom Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our legendary Raw chats, and of course, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. And let's get right on into it, folks. Monday Night Raw, live tonight from the Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C., the home of the NHL's Washington Capitals and the NBA's Washington Wizards. And we started it off. It started as an in-ring segment, with the Bloodline cutting another promo, interrupted by Riddle. And Riddle announced that Elias was taken out. And then they showed a backstage moment where Elias was taken out by the Bloodline. But Riddle said, we're still going to have a tag team title matchup. It's just not going to be Elias. And he says, well, my new partner and I may not get along personally. While we may not get along personally, we have a common interest, and that is hatred for the Bloodline. And that new partner turned out to be Kevin Owens. So it was Riddle and Kevin Owens squaring off against the Usos for the undisputed tag team championship. Winners of the match, 14 minutes and 10 seconds, and still the undisputed tag team champions. It is the Usos with the 1D, the one and done, or the day one or 1D, but they were given a good amount of time to make this a competitive contest. All four men looked good, but the match as a whole felt like countless other tag team contests we've seen. It was good, but it didn't really stand out for any reason other than the challengers being a bit of an odd couple. The Usos were able to retain the titles by pinning Riddle with the 1D. Prize Fighter chased the Bloodline off with a chair, but he didn't see Solo Sikoa stay behind to beat up on Riddle. And he used his late Uncle Umaga's trademark Samoan spike, only fitting because yesterday marked the 13th anniversary of his passing. He passed away December 4th of 2009. All right, let's see. The Usos are great at hitting strikes that look like they make a big impact. A lot of wrestlers are clearly pulling their punches, but the Usos look convincing when they hit someone most of the time. Sikoa decimating Riddle was the best part of the first half hour of the show. He's going to be a great character for years to come. I will give this somewhere in excess of 3.25 to 3.5 stars. A solid way to start the show. And the Usos now turn their attentions to Friday Night SmackDown. And a big development on that front. It was scheduled to be the Usos defending against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. But Drew McIntyre tweeted earlier today that he has been medically disqualified from competing on Friday night show. So he's out, but Butch is in. So it'll be Sheamus and Butch now challenging the Usos this Friday night on SmackDown in Pittsburgh for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which we'll address, and we'll get into that on Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But for right now, 3.25, 3.5 stars for this opening bout. So MF, a lot to dissect here. Elias out, KO in. Riddle and KO come up short against the Usos. And now the Usos defend against Sheamus and Butch on Friday night.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to decipher. First off, obviously, the Bloodline's just trying to run Raw like they run SmackDown. They want to try to take it in their own way, handle their own business, and kind of really try to solidify that they are the best in WWE. And look, I think they did a better match by adding Kevin Owens. It adds a little bit to the drama. But unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't the outcome they were hoping for. And like we said, the champions remain the champions. Now, as far as SmackDown goes, yeah, I think we would have had a really good, interesting fight with when Drew and Sheamus together. But now Drew is out, medical disqualification, and is unable to compete for the title, which is a little bit of a shocking turn of events. So we'll see how it plays out, and we'll see. So I think it'll be an interesting matchup. But this was easily 3.5 stars. I thought this was an excellent match, and really nothing more to add. So Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you, my friend.
Bullock, are you there?
Yeah, for some reason, I mean, it just maybe I must have hit the mute button by accident. So, but yeah, I mean, this was definitely a great start off to Raw. I mean, obviously, I mean, Kevin Owens was definitely better suited for this than Elias, and we got a good match out of this one. So this was definitely a 3.5-star bout, and yeah, the champions stay the champions, and now they turn their attention to Friday night, where, like you said, now it's going to be Butch taking over for Drew McIntyre. I mean, who knows? I mean, he could be injured. I mean, who knows what the injury could possibly be? I mean, I tried to look into it and I couldn't find anything. So our best definitely goes to Drew McIntyre, and hopefully he'll get his opportunity somewhere down the line when he does return. So there's really nothing more for me to add. So it's yours. It's yours, Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with the rating. It's definitely about a 3-star match. It was very well done. Changing up Elias for Kevin Owens, just continued that little doubt we have with Sami Zayn, because as you noticed, when Kevin Owens is in the match with the Bloodline, he doesn't really do anything but just stand there. So it kind of continued that on that we have been seeing since Survivor Series, and even in Survivor Series, you could still see that hesitation, even though he helped them win at the end. So, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, and when I gave it to MF, I should have mentioned, one of our favorite things we used to talk about back in the day, when Umaga was running around, that Samoan spike, or what you used to call it, the amniotic spike. I mean, I remember that very vividly, and Solo Sikoa had that on him tonight, in memory of Umaga, who passed away 13 years ago. So nice tribute from Solo indeed. So, all right. Moving on, we had an in-ring segment. Well, Bayley. Now here's the thing. We had 2 triple threat matches, 2 women's triple threat matches. The winners of those 2 matches will meet next Monday night on Raw in Milwaukee, and that woman will be the next challenger for Bianca Belair and the Raw Women's Championship. The first of those triple threat matches featured Asuka versus Bayley versus Rhea Ripley. And the winner of the match, it's not coming up for me here, but yep, connection stuck. But nonetheless, we had a surprise. It was Bayley. Bayley stole the match. Bayley steals it here, and and she will move on to the triple threat to the big contender match next Monday night at the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee to meet the winner of the other triple threat match, which we'll get into in a short. But I got it now. All right. Bayley won the match 15 minutes and 15 seconds. 15-15. How about that? 15 minutes, 15 seconds. Bayley defeats Asuka and Rhea Ripley to qualify for that contender match next week. So MF, Bayley comes out the winner in 15-15. But don't think that the four of us, and especially Bullock and I during our Raw chat tonight, don't think we didn't notice the eye-to-eye, face-to-face stare-down in the entranceway between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. We thought it was foreshadowing, but no, they got us again. For a moment, we saw this with the SmackDown World Cup with Strowman, but here they did it again. We thought, I think they're giving it away. It's probably gonna be Becky and Rhea. No, Bayley won the match, but Becky and Rhea down the road, maybe Mania.
I think it's very possible now. I think more than ever before, it looks like we will see we could see Rhea and Becky drawing the line, and we'll go from there. But then we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, no doubt about it. This is going to be a lot more interesting than anything else. But it could be anything can happen here, and we'll see. But one thing is for sure, it's going to be it's going to be interesting. I think at the end of the day, great matchup, great victory for Bayley. That punches her ticket to the big fight now. And yeah, like we said, down the line, we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. And I don't think there's really nothing more to add. So this is a solid 3-star fight. Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, when Florio and I had our chat, at first we were like thinking, oh, they're teasing Becky and Rhea, but yeah, like with the SmackDown World Cup, I mean, they swerved us again. I mean, Bayley gets the victory here, punches her ticket into the number one contenders match, and now, of course, we'll find out later on in the night who she's going to be going up against. So we'll see how it plays out. So I'm gonna give this about maybe 3.5. I mean 3.5 for me. So it's yours, Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It was a very well done match, even with the stare down at the beginning, and the confrontation between Becky and Bayley at the beginning. Also, I mean, it was a very well done match. They definitely kept the attention of everybody as they went for it. And yeah, there was a few swerves where you would think one of the other girls would win, but yeah, in the end, it ended up being Bayley, and it's going to be a good match next week. So, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
This match was a lot of fun and gave all three women a chance to look good along the way. Everyone was laying their strikes in deep and selling for their opponents like the pros they are. They found several ways to use all three competitors in interesting spots that did not look too contrived. While Rhea Ripley seemed like the favorite, Bayley was the one who ended up scoring the win. And then the Nightmare took out her frustrations on Asuka once the match was over. Bayley wasn't acting quite as much like an annoying heel as she usually does, especially during her exchange with Becky Lynch before the bout. Ripley being too powerful for Bayley to roll up was a nice touch. WWE has done a great job of portraying Rhea as one of the most dominant women in the world. The way Ripley sold a roundhouse kick to the head from Asuka was perfect, and then Ripley hit a beautiful Northern Lights suplex in this matchup. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. A very good match indeed, and surprise outcome, unpredictability. So, not much more to say on that. So, So with that, we move on to the next our next fight of the night. Impromptu match that was set up during a backstage altercation. There was a backstage altercation with the United States Heavyweight Champion Austin Theory and Mustafa Ali, and it led to a United States Heavyweight title matchup. But before we get into that, there was an in-ring segment. Seth Rollins came out, and it was announced also next Monday night on Raw in Milwaukee. Seth frickin' Rollins goes one-on-one with Bobby Lashley in a number one contenders match for the United States Heavyweight Championship. So the winner will challenge Austin Theory for the U.S. title down the line. Rollins cuts a promo, interrupted by Lashley, and then all hell breaks loose. A wild and crazy brawl. And MF and Didi, I think you know this gentleman as well as I do. Bullock doesn't really know him all that well. Petey Williams. You remember Petey Williams, captain of Team Canada, TNA Impact Wrestling, one of the pioneers of the X Division, one of the great X Division champions of all time, legendary battles with the likes of AJ Styles and so many others down there. Seth Rollins pushed, basically threw Petey Williams right in front, so Bobby Lashley could spear the hell out of him. And oh man, Petey, oh boy, he got, oh man, I felt for him. And Bullock knows that during our Raw chat. I mentioned his credentials to him during that. But wild and crazy brawl between those two. You got to believe that match next week's going to be a banger. You already know that. So, hold on. Unfortunately, MF has to leave us for the night. I'm not sure what happened, but all right. Hopefully we'll have him back with us on. I'm sure he'll be back with us Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness. But no worries. Myself, Bullock. Now we've lost Michael Bullock. I think he probably hit the wrong button, I'm guessing. So we'll probably have him back with us momentarily. So, but man, a wild and crazy brawl with Rollins and Lashley there, with Petey Williams getting speared the hell out of. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with that match next week. But for right now, we have the United States Heavyweight Championship matchup. Austin Theory versus Mustafa Ali. All right, we got Bullock back. All right, very good. All right. Austin Theory retains the title. He wins the match via disqualification, 8 minutes and 5 seconds after outside interference from a returning Dolph Ziggler. So Bullock, it looks like unfinished business with Dolph Ziggler and Austin Theory, as we talked about during our Raw chat tonight when we saw this.
Oh yeah, there's definitely unfinished business with those two. So yeah, I can only give this about 2.25 stars. I could have given it a much higher rating, but the DQ finish took a little bit away from it, so I do have to take a little bit off of it. So I mean, like I said, I could have given it 2.5, but I'm lowering it to 2.25 because of the DQ finish. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Didi. Goes to Didi Woodson.
Oh, yeah, Didi Woodson, it's yours.
Oh boy. Yeah, it took me a little bit when they first said Petey Williams on TV for me to remember who he was, but yeah, I definitely remember Petey Williams. Very good back in the day. But yeah, the match, I'll probably give it about 2.5 stars. I'm not surprised that Ziggler did get involved, but at the same time, I mean, it's, it did kill Ali's chance at going for this title again. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 2.5 for me as well. I mean, we very easily could have given this NA, but no. While this ending was not ideal, the fact that Theory has Ziggler, Ali, Lashley, and Rollins all chasing the United States Heavyweight Championship makes it feel like one of the most sought after belts in all of WWE. And here's a belt that, you know, for a very long time was utilized very poorly. And we always used to give WWE hell for this back in the day. You remember, we used to go on rants about how the U.S. title went from being prestigious to being a joke. Well, now it's gone from being a joke to being prestigious again. And we can all thank Papa H for that. No doubt about that. So, and as someone who has a great respect for the history of this business, the United States Heavyweight Championship, which has a lot of lineage to it. And I mentioned that to Bullock during our Raw chat as well. You know, all the legends and all the Hall of Famers that have held that title from the very first champion, 1975, Handsome Harley Race, the late, great Handsome Harley Race, and all the other legends who have held it, like the Nature Boy Ric Flair, like the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And even the great Hacksaw Jim Duggan held that title once, believe it or not. Of course, Sting, a former champion, another late great who went into the Hall of Fame with The Undertaker this year. Vader, he's a former title holder. And, of course, the total package, Lex Luger. Let's not forget about that. He's a former title holder. And all the legends and Hall of Famers that have held it, and future Hall of Famers. And it just makes me so happy to see that title being utilized so wonderfully again. And it makes me so happy. So, but anyways, Ali and Theory had a backstage segment that led to this match being booked. Theory's finding his groove with this more serious version of his character. I'm liking it as well. And that botched Hurricanrana could have been bad news for both men. It's hard to tell if it was luck or skill that saved it from being a disaster. All right, and then another match that came from a backstage segment. This is one of two matches that came from the JBL Poker Invitational Poker Tournament. I smell McMagma on that one. But nonetheless, it set up a 6-man tag team matchup with the OC squaring off against the Alpha Academy and Baron Corbin. And the OC win the match in 14.5 minutes. Didi Whitson, you may not like how it was set up, but boy, did we get a good 6-man out of this.
Yeah, we did. We got a real good 6-man out of it. I thought it was a very well done match. These guys, all 6 of them, worked very well together. And I'm not really surprised at the fact that they were hyping up Corbin as much as they did, but no, I'm not a big fan of Alpha Academy and Baron Corbin. That's one thing I have not hidden from anybody. But yeah, I mean, they did a very good job. And I was surprised with maybe a couple of the moves that they did, but in the end, I'm going to probably give it 3 stars, maybe 3.5. So it's yours, Florio.
I'm going to give it 3.5. I mean, I'll tell you what. The match had a somewhat slow pace for the first several minutes, but not in a bad way. Everyone was obeying the rules, tagging in and out, and nobody was trying to go 100 miles an hour. They saved that for the final sequence. This was a textbook WWE 6-man match. It never really got too out of hand, but it also never quite reached that level of excitement that we expect from any match involving AJ Styles. It was decent, but nothing to write home about. And after a fun exchange with all 6 competitors brought things to a close, Gallows and Anderson hit Chad Gable with the Magic Killer for the win. Chad Gable and Carl Anderson are both awesome technical wrestlers. So having them pair up for part of this match allowed them to display those skills a bit before Gallows tagged in. It would be awesome if we got a couple of singles bouts between them. And Otis sold the Pele kick from AJ Styles perfectly. So I'm with Didi on this one. This ranged from another 3.25, 3.5 star match. Nice fun match here. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this 6-man with the OC winning in 14.5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely another solid match here. I'll definitely give it 3.5 stars as well. I mean, yeah, the OC with a nice win here. I mean, great work by all the men in this match. I mean, look, say what you want about the Alpha Academy, but I mean, yeah, the gimmick is there, but they can certainly back it up in the ring. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, and then we had our, believe it or not, our only cutout of the night, which was another match that stemmed from the JBL poker tournament backstage. Dominic Mysterio squaring off against Akira Tozawa. Dominic Mysterio wins the match. 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Obviously, the worst fight of the night. 1-star match here. It was a quick match that didn't do much other than give Dominic Mysterio a relatively easy win. And I can't say it enough. It's so great to see Tozawa wearing his original ring gear again. That ninja costume lasted way too damn long. And Tozawa got some good height on his senton, so hitting the mat as hard as he did must have hurt. But that's all we can take away from it. 1-star match. And now we move on to the main event of the evening, the other triple threat match, where the winner will face Bayley in that number 1 contenders match next week. As it was Alexa Bliss squaring off against Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross. And just bear with me for a moment as I get my information here. Just give me a moment. My thing refreshed on me, so I had to look it up again. All right. Winner of the match, 16.5 minutes. And another surprise outcome. Alexa Bliss wins the match. Damage Control took out Becky Lynch, and it opened the door for Alexa to hit the Twisted Bliss on Nikki Cross for the win. Wow. All right, so let's get into this. All three of Nikki Cross used her unorthodox style of offense to take out both women right before the first commercial break, and then Becky began to dominate when we came back from it. All three of these women have their own unique styles, but they're all versatile as well. That allowed them to put on a fun encounter that was almost as good as the other triple threat we saw earlier in the night. First bout just had a slightly more aggressive pace to it. Io Sky and Dakota Kai came out and interfered to prevent the man from winning by powerbombing her through the announce table, and that allowed the Goddess to hit Twisted Bliss for the win. And some of the pinning combinations Bliss and Lynch used early on looked good, but one out of every 3 or 4 looked slightly awkward. So it made the whole sequence feel slightly off balance. Lynch tried to jump off Bliss's back to hit Cross in the corner, but she missed the mark by a couple of inches. The way Cross and Bliss were fighting felt like WWE might be considering reigniting their feud. And the spot when Becky tried to hit a leg drop while Cross hit Bliss with a neck breaker looked very awkward. But other than that, another 3.5 to 3 3/4 star match. And you could also call this the fight of the night as well. So there isn't much more to say on that. So Michael Bullock, another women's triple threat match, another surprise outcome. We thought it was going to be Becky and Rhea, but no, Bayley and Alexa are the winners, as Alexa wins this one in 16.5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, after what we saw, basically were thinking we were going to get Becky and Rhea, but no, we get Bayley first, and now Alexa Bliss coming out of this one. So some surprise outcomes here tonight. So another 3.5 star rating, and yeah. So why do I get this funny feeling that I think Alexa's going to go over next week? Because after Damage Control basically took out Becky Lynch. You know Becky's going to get her payback. So, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. So, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Dee Dee.
Yeah, I've got my Alexa Bliss shirt on, like I showed a little while ago, and it's the same little icon that I got on my name here. Yeah, it was a surprise ending to see Alexa win it in the end, but at the same time, it's been quite a while since either her or Bailey has had the title, so it's one of these things is going to be like a fresh matchup that we haven't had in a while next week with these two. And yeah, Damage Control, they did jump in, try to keep Becky from winning, but in the end, it still ended up being Alexa Bliss coming out on top. And this definitely was the fight of the night. It was an awesome match. So yeah, I'll agree with the ratings that you guys gave, and I'll toss it back over to you, Florio.
All right. So with that, we get into our overall review. I believe Bullock starts it off. So Bullock, your thoughts on this Monday Night Raw from Washington, D.C. here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a good edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, we only had one bad match here, and everything else was solid to even really good. So I'm going to give this about maybe 7.5 to 8. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Dee Dee again.
Yeah, Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours. So what do you think? You have a higher rating than that, or you think the 7.5 is just about right?
I'm going with about 8. It was a very good show. Yeah, we had the one low moment, some of the backstage nonsense, but for the most part, yeah, it was a pretty solid show. Very well done. Don't really have a whole lot of complaints about it. So I'll hopefully see you guys on Friday. So good night, guys.
All right, good night, Dee Dee. Hopefully we'll have you back Monday night, or I should say Friday night rather. But 8 out of 10 for me. I 100% agree with it. I mean, we only had one cutout match, which was Dominic Mysterio and Akira Tozawa, but all the other matches, solid to good to great. And yeah, we had that JBL poker invitational thing. I mean, that was straight out of McMagma. Let's be realistic. I felt like he somehow secretly put that one together, but is what it is. But other than that, 8 out of 10 for me, and some good angle advancement, and sets up 2 huge matches, 2 big main events for next Monday night in Milwaukee, where we will see Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins for the #1 contendership for the U.S. title in theory. And of course, the women's contender match with Bayley and Alexa Bliss to battle for the right to go on and face Bianca Belair. So that's really all there is to say on that. So 8 out of 10 for me. And now let's get into my Tony's take, and we will now get into Impact Wrestling from last Thursday night. And just bear with me for a moment as I find it in my notes here. Okay, here we go. All right. It was taped from the old Foresters Paris Town Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. And we started it off with an in-ring segment, Bully Ray. And his speech made sense. He can always talk, but Bully Ray as Impact's top villain in 2022 is still not exactly a great image. But what I will say, it was a very good promo, though. Great heel promo. Bully Ray versus Rich Swann, the first fight of the night. Rich Swann wins the match via disqualification, 5 minutes, 43 seconds. About 2.5. At least Ray didn't pin him clean. It was about continuing Ray as the biggest villain in the company, and he does it well enough. Swann didn't get in much offense here, but has fallen quite a long way from when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. Keeping this short was a smart idea, and it did what it needed to do. And then we had Moose squaring off against Bhupinder Gujar. Moose wins the match, 7 minutes, 53 seconds. 2.5, 2 3/4. Moose needed the win to get back on track after the loss to Bully Ray at Overdrive, and Gujar has enough status to make this mean something. Gujar still needs a win of his own, as his biggest claim to fame so far is almost winning the digital media title a few times. Another good enough match, even if it didn't need a break in the middle. Then we had Steve Macklin squaring off against Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian wins the match by disqualification, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Another 2.5 star or so match. These two could have had a better match with more time, but at least we got something out of them. Kazarian is one of the good hands around there, as he can work well with anyone, while Macklin should be next in line for the World Heavyweight title. He's been built up well, and with one big push, a title reign is far from out of the question. Then we had the last rodeo match, the big matchup, Mickie James squaring off against Deonna Purrazzo. And Mickie James wins the match in an even 23 minutes. This was the fight of the night. I'm giving this 4.25 to 4.5 stars. It felt like a main event level match. And while there wasn't a ton of drama about Mickie losing, it was a good journey throughout. The ending with the cheating from James is certainly interesting, as she might be getting more desperate to keep her career alive. But I could watch her and Deonna wrestle multiple times, and it would likely continue to be high-quality stuff. And then a very eerie and creepy promo segment to close the show with the VBD. Let's just say parental discretion advised when you watch that segment. 7 out of 10. The main event bails the show out, as it was only okay until then. Throwing Bully Ray dominating the first quarter of the show, and Violent by Design getting the closing segment, and it was not the most thrilling stuff at the start and the finish. That being said, 23 minutes of Purrazzo versus James worked, and it made the show a good watch. So a 7 out of 10 for that. This Thursday night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV and YouTube for the Impact Insiders at 8:30, and then up to Impact Plus at 10 o'clock. It will be Heath Slater and Rhino defending the World Tag Team titles against the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. We'll get an appearance from the World Heavyweight Champion, Josh Alexander. And Taya Valkyrie goes one-on-one with Savannah Evans. So that all goes down on Thursday night. And then from there, we get into NXT Level Up. Started it off with Oro Mensah versus Miles Bourne. And it was Oro Mensah winning the match in 6 minutes and 11 seconds. 2.25 star match. It was a nice little match. Both men look good, and I'm invested in seeing what happens with both men in their careers. Then we had Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus Tavion Heights. Channing Stacks Lorenzo in 4 minutes and 19 seconds. 1.5. It was a basic match on the show just to get Heights out there and see what he can do in front of a crowd. The amateur background will carry him for a bit, and right now just needs match after match after match. And then Thea Hale with Andre Chase and Duke Hudson in her corner squaring off against Sol Ruca. Thea Hale wins in 6 minutes, 18 seconds. Yeah, this was not good. 1 star. I wasn't feeling it. It was just a lot of rest holds. The ending got decent with the counters to all the pin attempts and roll-ups. Hale getting the win is the right call, as the crowd still loves the Chase U gimmick. 5 out of 10. Opener was fun, and it kind of went downhill from there. Still an easy watch, and I enjoy seeing these young talents get out there and learn on the job. So it's a 5 out of 10. So with that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you Wednesday night over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, 10:30 Wednesday night, as we will have NXT. And, of course, we've also got a loaded AEW Dynamite. And then we will preview Thursday Night Football. Not as exciting as last week, but it is the game nonetheless. It will be the Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams. We'll preview that on Wednesday night. Thursday night, Our NFL show now moves from Saturday to Thursday. It's starting this Thursday and for the rest of the season, it will be TXN Sports World NFL Thursday. With time permitting, maybe we'll recap the Raider Ram game, but we will preview all of the big games of week number 14. We got some good ones. You know, the New York Jets against the Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles against the New York Giants, and a couple of a game that just got interesting, the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions. Of course, America's Game of the Week on Fox, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the San Francisco 49ers, and a game that was flexed from late Sunday afternoon to Sunday night football, the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. Just some of the games we will notably get into on Thursday night. That'll also be at 10:30. And then Friday night, 11 p.m., Braves Fan 95, the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night, we will review it will be the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown. Yeah, Friday night SmackDown along with AEW Rampage and our preview of NXT Deadline. That premium live event that goes down Saturday night on Peacock, and we'll see how that plays out. No word on when the recap show will be, but we'll let you know as soon as we have something in place for it. So maybe it'll be Saturday night, maybe it'll be during one of our shows next week. I don't know. We'll see. And then Ridiculously Raw 1 week from tonight, and we'll get into those two big main events: Alexa Bliss and Bayley, and Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. So that's it. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and of course the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, the Road of Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.